Hi, my name is Nir Sapir. I am the head of the Animal Flight Lab at the University of Haifa. At the age of 3, I started to be fascinated by birds. I used to walk around the kibbutz where I grew up, constantly asking my parents, what is this bird and what is that bird? So by the age of 5, I already could identify nearly 100 species of birds. Later on, when I became a teenage, I started to get up early in the morning and look for very rare birds around the country, like many other people in Israel and abroad who are fascinated by birds. Later on, when I became a scientist, I learned that migration of birds involved the movement of millions of birds that move around the globe on a seasonal basis, consuming resources in different environments around the globe. Therefore, I understood that migration is not only fascinating, it's also an important ecological process on a global scale. But migration has also a bad side. And these bad sides include collisions with aviation. For example, in these US Airways that took off from JFK and hit a flock of migrating barnacle geese during migration, leading to this landing over the Hudson River. Also, migrating birds collide with military aviation, like in the case of this helicopter of the Israeli Chief of Staff, Bogi Ya'alon, that got hit by a crane, and fortunately, no one got hurt or died out of this bad collision. Another negative aspect of bird migration involved the spread of zoonotic disease from wild bird to us, for example, avian flu. Also, migratory birds cause damage to agricultural crops. So, taking together all these negative consequences, we have to be able to prepare and prevent these consequences by knowing when, where, and how many of these birds are about to come. For that, we need to characterize bird migration. And to do so, we need to collect data on the birds, for example, using these radars, and to explore bird migration patterns. As you can see, in some days during migration times, bird migration is extremely intense, but in other days, it's very, very weak. We need to grasp this information and get some sense of these highly variable phenomena. And based on preliminary analysis, we already know that there are several affecting factors, such as wind and temperatures, that are affecting the magnitude of migration. For example, when temperature increased by about 5 degrees centigrade, bird migration almost doubles itself. So, by taking this information and integrate it with forecast of weather, for example, this detailed forecast of the weather by the Israel Meteorological Service, we can integrate and come up with precise prediction of bird migration over the next several days. So, this allows us to know when the birds are going to come, at which numbers, and then to plan ahead. For example, when bird migration is intense, we can shut down plans for low-level training of jets. But later on, when migration is much weaker, we can allow such training when the risk is much lower. Yet, we still don't have the capacity to do that on scale. So, I ask for your support in establishing the National Center for Aeroecology. This center will include cutting-edge radar systems for collecting bird migration data and high-performance computing for analyzing and modeling bird migration. Also, this center will be a training hub for students and combining all these efforts together will allow precise prediction of bird migration. Therefore, with your help, the sky is not the limit. Thank you very much.